What is up, guys? Today we are coming with a slightly different video from the channel norm, but a great video nonetheless. Today we are going to be building my first ever FPV drone from parts. So I've never built a drone before, and to be honest, I really don't have any idea what I'm doing. So if you are in a similar situation, you can watch this video and follow along. So the first part of the video, I'm going to go over the various parts that I bought. I'm not sure I have all the parts I need, and I'm also not sure whether all these parts are compatible, but I've researched for quite a while to get some stuff that I think will work. And let's take a look at it, and let's see how it goes. So, the first thing that you need when building a FPV drone from parts is, you guessed it, a soldering iron. So, oh, by the way, I'll also put a list of all these parts in the description of this video, so you can purchase them too, should you want. But let's start with this soldering iron. So, I unfortunately do not have a knife on hand, and do not want to do more than one take. Alright, so, alright, we have some important documentation, it says. I don't know what's so important. Alright, this will be something to look at a later date, aka not now. Alright, so let's put this aside. Let's open this bad boy. Okay, so seems we have quite a few things going on here. Ah, I gotcha. Alright. So, looks like we have some brackets or something, I'm guessing for mounting. Let me turn this around. So, I guess desoldering pump. So we have this too. I think this is like the main station, and then here's the iron, so let's stick that in there for now. Set this aside. It does come with some lead-free solder. I did buy some more too. And then various shaped tips, which can be helpful depending on what we need. And then I'm not sure what this is, desoldering pump, but I will look into this more later. But let's put that aside for now. Looks like we also got some tweezers, which will be good. Oh, and then I think I know what this is. So I think these cables go with this mounting, and you can see these kind of have like alligator clips on them. So this is so you can like hold various components like in a fixed position, and then you can solder. So you don't have to like be holding something and then soldering with the other hand. Like these can just secure the object in place, and then you can solder it. So we'll have to set these up later, and then, I mean, this is probably something too. So let's put that aside for now. This is a funky box. Put this over here for now. Just on the floor. Okay, so I do believe, so I also did buy this solder too, and because I wasn't sure how much would be included. I think this is also lead-free solder, because you don't want any lead poisoning. Is this the same company? No, it's not. Some Chinese characters. So this is our auxiliary solder, and it looks like this one is slightly thinner than that one, so we can choose which one to use based on how much solder we need. So let's put that next to our soldering iron for now. And then I believe there is one more soldering component. Or maybe not. Alright, that may be it in terms of soldering for now. Ah, no. Here it is. This is a little tub of Flux that we'll use when soldering, just to make it a bit easier. So I think one of these solders already has like a tiny thing of Flux in the core, but the other one doesn't. And I believe this comes with a little like kind of paintbrush that we can use to paint the Flux onto the connections whenever we want to solder. So this will go with our soldering equipment. Alright, next let's move on to the batteries. And this is the first place where it seems like we have a problem. So this is the Lipo battery I bought, 2800 milliamps, because I wanted to go for long range, but this thing it's pretty big, and it's actually pretty heavy, and I'm thinking it might be too heavy, but that will be something we figure out later down the road. So I've also not done too much with Lipo batteries before, so I'm kind of inexperienced, but I'll figure that out. And then for the Lipo battery, I bought this compatible charger for the battery. So hopefully we can use this Lipo charger to safely charge up this battery for when we want to use it. Both this battery and the charger are XT60. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I think it has to do with the actual connection that we use. So we'll have to figure that out. But again, 2800 milliamp battery and a charger for that battery. So let's place these aside for now. Make a little stack. And then I did buy a Lipo charging case because the batteries are known to be kind of dangerous and catch fire at times. So it is recommended that you always charge it inside a fireproof bag. And I think this bag actually has 2 levels. So we have this little Lipo, it's called Lipo guard. So maybe we can just stick our battery in there for now, keep it safe. And then we can put this little bag inside this bigger lunchbox looking bag. Again, this is all for safety, because let's see, never leave charging battery unattended. Always ensure the battery is on a non-flammable surface. Ensure the flap is sealed while charging. And the Liposafe bag is intended to reduce the chances of damage in the event of a Lipo fire. So I don't think we'll have a fire because we're using a compatible charger. We're not planning to do anything crazy, but keep all the stuff in here just in case, And then comes with a nice little strap, and it almost looks like a lunchbox. So if you buy this, you have multiple uses for it. Cool. Oh, and it matches my jacket. Perfect. Alright, so that's our batteries. Now let's get on to the more interesting stuff. Actually, before that, I also bought these tools. I believe they're like little hex screwdrivers that I think are used for a lot of the stuff on the frame and whatnot. So these were fairly cheap. I just bought them on Amazon. But these are little drivers to help us with assembling this stuff. So I'll put that next to the soldering iron for tools. Okay, the next thing is the frame. So for this drone, I planned it out to use 6-inch propellers. So this is a frame designed for that. And it looks like it would be quite easy to open with a knife. However, I don't have one on hand, so I will be unpeeling the tape. Alright, so let's fold this tape over so it doesn't stick. Okay. Alright, so yeah, this is a carbon fiber frame, and it's not assembled. You see we have all these pieces, and then here we have all the screws used to assemble it. And just a quick glance at the head of these screws tells us that I believe I did buy the correct screwdrivers, because these are little the heads have a hex fitting, and then these are hex screwdrivers, so this should be good. And then we have this thing, a battery strap, and then just screws and screws and screws, various components. So I will assemble this frame later, but not quite yet. But good to see it's all in there. Okay. Cool. Now let's look at the propellers. So these are 6-inch propellers from GEPRC, I guess. Nothing too special about these. They're fairly cheap as well. And I bought 2 sets of them. They have 4 each, but 2 sets because I think propellers are one of the most likely things to break, and they're very cheap, so it's good to have backup. But these are just 6-inch propellers. Okay. Now let's look at the motors. So I bought 4 of these motors, and these motors are 1850 kV. So my understanding is if you have higher kV motors, they'll spin a lot faster, but they'll have less torque. And then if you have lower kV motors, they spin slower but have more torque. So since we're doing a 6-inch prop build, those are considered fairly big propellers. So we don't need them to spin as fast, and we need more torque to spin them. So hopefully the 1850 kV motors will be suitable for this. And then let's take a little look inside one of them. All right, so this comes with a lot more little hex screws for mounting it to the frame. And then, yep, a fairly small motor that we're gonna have to solder on, but it doesn't look too bad. Here's what it looks like. So we have 4 of these, 1850 kV, and hopefully these will work. But yeah, looking pretty good. So let's stick these up front. All right, what shall we look at next? So let's look at our flight controller next. So this is a SpeedyBee flight controller, and this one actually is a flight controller and Esc. So you'll see there's 2 circuit boards inside, and this one on the right is going to be our flight controller, and then this one is going to be our speed controller that we solder each of the motors to. And then I believe this thing we'll take out and then we'll stick it on top of this thing. So these are both compatible because they come as a kit with both of them, and should work pretty well. So again, our 4 motors, each of the motors has 3 wires. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I believe this is where we put our battery in. And then this is the flight controller, which we'll have to configure later on to do various things. But this is basically going to be the heart and brain of our build. So looks pretty good. And then we do have some. We have a QR code for a manual and instructions on how to do stuff. So definitely check that out. And then we do have another thing from SpeedyBee. But this is actually antennas. So this little thing here, it comes with 2 antennas. So these are fairly small antennas, but we'll mount them on, and hopefully they'll work well. These are RHCP, red hot chili peppers. I'm joking, but yeah, I don't really know what that means, but hopefully these work. We'll have to figure that out. Okay. Then we have our camera for FPV. So this is the Predator micro camera. And you see that right here. So we will mount that onto the front of our drone, and then hopefully with our video transmitter, that will give us like a live feed of everything going onto the drone that we can look at as it flies. So this will be pretty cool. This is going to be an analog setup, not a digital setup, because that's a lot more expensive and maybe not great for starting. But so this is going to be our camera we're using. and then that will be coupled with our SpeedyBee TX800, which is going to be our video transmitter on the drone. So this thing is fairly small, but hopefully what this will do is, as our drone is flying, the camera will be wired into the flight controller, and then the flight controller will send that video stream to our video transmitter. Then our video transmitter will send it to the antenna, and then the antenna will send it to us for us to look at with our flight goggles that we can watch the flight with. So that's a good thing to check out next. So for these flight goggles, I got the Fat Shark Scout. These are, I think, pretty entry-level flight goggles, but this will give us a nice FPV feed of our drone as we fly it. So that will be pretty cool. And then two more things. We have our TBS Crossfire. And what this is going to do is kind of going the opposite direction of the video output stream to our goggles. This is going to accept the signals from our controller, like our physical controller, and then send that to the flight controller. So this will be, I believe, connected to another antenna, and then, actually I don't know. I'll have to look into that more. But anyway, so our actual physical controller will send it to this, and then this will send it to our flight controller, and that will be how we fly. So this thing is fairly small, but yep. And then the last thing we have is our controller. And I went for the Radio Master TX12, of course. And then this will be how we actually fly the drone. And then we'll do that while we wear these goggles. So hopefully this works out. There's a few things I'm still pretty iffy on, but I think the first thing to do is probably read all the attached documentation for the various components, mostly the flight controller, because I think that's gonna be the hub for a lot of things going on. And then from there we'll figure it out, and then hopefully get this drone flying pretty soon. But that is the comprehensive list of parts for this drone, and if you stick around, we'll go ahead and open some of these parts and then start assembling our drone. So thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.
Bruh.